Hello, good morning. Thank you for being here. We have Ivo, Luis, and Elizabeth, and we also have David. You know all of them, and now Elizabeth Romano is going to talk with all of them, and I would like each of you to tell us what's your vision on what's going to happen with gaming. We've seen what's happened with the pandemic, with the expectations for last year. Some of us are back in March last year. There's a lot of uncertainty. We've had failed reopening plans, and we would like to know what's the point of view of the operator, the Dominican Casino Association, the suppliers like Luis and Ivo. How do you see the future of gaming, especially in Latin America? Welcome, Elizabeth. I'll leave the floor to you. Thank you. Everybody have a good day. As you said, Elizabeth, we are all in this new era, and what we need to know is how to move forward. And something that we are all discussing is the online platforms. We have as panelists two specialists from Sportingtech. They could help us see how the online world works. Now, this is becoming a key element. It used to be the future, but now we want this future now, and we want to do it successfully. So I would ask you, that you are the experts on this subject, if you could provide some cultural context and talk about your experience with these platforms and how we can include them in our casinos. Okay, good morning, everybody, and thank you to CGS for organizing this event. It's very important for us, and it's very important for Sportingtech. Okay, this is not an easy answer because everything has changed with the COVID-19 pandemic, and the land-based operator understood that this is an opportunity to make this switch to the online world, because online it's not a competition, it's a new path for the future. So I don't think this is something that is going to happen immediately, but with time, and you can do this in 1 or 2 years. This is a natural transition for the land-based operators. This is an opportunity, and we need to work on it. Okay, perfect. So you are saying that this is an opportunity, that this is not going to be done in a single step, but we need to take several steps. And besides, as you said, this is not only about regulation, but this is about knowledge, interpretation from the operators, and also the regulating entities of each country. And maybe you can tell us, maybe you, Ivo and Luis, can tell us a bit how you are managing this platform. Have you done these migrations from a land-based casino to an online casino with online gaming, sporting bets? Maybe you can tell us a bit about that. Yes, we as a platform provider, our scope is digital, so instead of being a substitution, it's a complement of the traditional gaming industry. In markets where there is regulation, for example in Italy or Spain, we see that even though they are very mature markets with a huge volume of traditional game, online gaming, it's not a huge percentage, but it's growing. And this has increased with the pandemic because many land-based casinos weren't able to carry out their activities. So We, for the traditional operator, we offer our technological solution. This is an additional channel, and they can grow, and at some point, when they go through a rough patch, or if they want to provide more access to the product, they can enable it. So it depends if the market is regulated or not. So we would have to comply with a set of requirements, and we are prepared for it. So what we are seeing in the regulated markets is that they have tried to do everything in a very structured way. And in unregulated markets, well, they are trying to see how they're going to do it. And an example is Peru. We've talked with the regulators, and we try to be a complement of the traditional operator and not a replacement. Okay, I think I lost a bit of audio there. Yeah, I think there's a detail, but we are trying to be a complement instead of a replacement. So many operators haven't entered the digital world, and our role is gonna be a continuation of their activity. Okay, I completely agree with you. And many times the big operators are entering the online casinos and sporting bets, and the small operators, unfortunately, in my opinion, I see that they are pretty far of interpreting as the online casino as a complement, as you so well put it. And now we have David Moniz. He's a specialist on land-based casino. He works from the CIRSA group, and he is the president of the Dominican Republic Casino Association, right? Yes, correct. So how the online platforms are positioning in the land-based casino industry as a complement, and people are using it due to the new normal. What can you tell us from your expertise about the land-based casinos? Well, first, good morning. As you said, this is a complement to the land-based casino. I think that the new trends are focused in this new methodology and technology that are online platforms. At other forums, I've said that none is going to disappear. They're going to coexist. And I say this because the first barrier for the online platforms is to generate trust in the customers. For this, especially in gaming, they need to have that trust that it can be generated in a land-based casino, and especially in Latin America, where there are so much fraud. They need to generate trust in the customers, and they can generate the trust with a physical facility. So what's the methodology of the big operators? Since they already have a physical facility, they are generating the online option where the customer can access. Despite the restrictions in the Dominican Republic, there's an hour restriction, but a customer can access the online platform at any time. And we should not forget that the land-based casinos generate something very important, which is trust and also an experience. The experience that a customer has in the land-based. That's never going to be generated by an online platform. Well, I completely agree. I've been working for a lot of years in land-based casinos, and I've been in contact with the new platforms, but what you said, it's a key factor. We were saying that the online casino, at first, in my opinion, it looked like it was the competition of the land-based casino, but now we see it as a complement. They're going to coexist until we disappear and they move along. But what you say about generating trust and building a direct relationship with the customers, they trust you and they go to gamble and have fun, and they're going to be able to go back when they feel where they feel comfortable. That's why land-based casino provides, and we need to make the platforms that generates this trust. With all the restriction, the hour restriction that we have, and we don't know what's the situation, I think we need to move the trust of the physical casino to the online platforms so the customer can keep playing and having fun in both realms. Well, I think that was pretty clear. But why in Europe are so far ahead than Latin America? In Latin America, we need a regulation, but also knowledge. We need an approach to move from the land-based to the online. We have two different scopes. Nobody says we're going to talk about the new casinos. We have parts of them that are land-based and parts of it that are online. This should be the approach. And we need a regulation like there is in Colombia or in Peru. I would like to ask you, how do you see this relationship between your companies and the regulators and also the knowledge of the operators
Bien,
about the online casinos?
yo creo que la verdad, la diferencia que hay en Europa y Latam
Well,
no
I think
no tiene
that
nada a
the
ver
difference between Europe and Latin
la
America,
voluntad de hacer, con
it's
conocimiento,
not
con tecnología. Creo que
about the lack of knowledge
Europa
or
está un poco más
technology.
adelante porque la verdad es que
I think
el support
Europe is a
de
bit
todo lo que son
far ahead
tecnologías de
because
información, tecnología,
the
energía,
support of the
internet, todo esto
information
está listo en
technologies
Europa hace
or
un tiempo de
energy or
vista. Y
internet,
ahora, si quieres
everything
entrar en
is set
mercados, no
up
le voy a
in
decir
Europe.
Colombia, pero
And now,
otros
if you
mercados un
want
poquito
to
más complicados que están
enter
detrás,
other markets
es
that are a bit
más
more
difícil
complex,
hacer una operación online. Entonces,
it's
operadores
harder
tienen
to
acceso al mercado
set
ahí
up
porque
an
la
online
infraestructura no
operation
está tan lista para hacer ese
because
tipo de
there
operación.
is
Entonces, creo
no
que ahora está
infrastructure
en
ready
verdad
for
y va a
this type of operation.
pensar también ahora
So
porque tienes la
there's
infraestructura
an
capaz
opportunity
de
with
hacer
this
esto, que
because
no
you
era
have
posible
the
ya hace
infrastructure
15 años
that
atrás.
it's
Hay un
going
delay
to
aquí,
enable
no
to
sé
do
si
this.
estás
And this
escuchando.
wasn't possible 15 years ago. There's a delay with my computer. I don't know if you can hear me
Sí,
well.
es en línea de lo que ha dicho Ivo y también de lo que ha dicho David, porque realmente
And
lo que
Luis,
sucede en estos mercados es
yes, I
que
agreed with
Europa, por
Ivo
ejemplo,
and David
el modo de adquirir
because what is
usuarios
happening in these
es
markets
muy
is
tecnológico.
that, for
Está
example,
totalmente orientado a
Europe,
la publicidad
the way that
digital,
they
a los
acquire
diferentes
users,
medios
it's very
digitales.
technological.
En
It's
cambio,
based on
en los
online
mercados, sobre todo
advertising,
hispanos
in
de Latinoamérica,
online
es más bien presencial. Es decir,
media,
se adquieren
but
los usuarios
in
porque
the
acuden
Latin
a los
American
locales de
markets,
juego. Y entonces
it's more
allí se
land-based.
les ofrece el juego online como un
I
complemento
acquire
y
the
por su
users because
portabilidad,
they
porque es un
come
producto que
to the
ellos pueden,
facilities. So
si
the
abren
online
una
is a
cuenta, pues
complement
se pueden llevar todos
because
los equipos
that's a
que vayan.
product.
Entonces,
If
es
they
otro modo
set up
de
an
crecer
account,
y sobre todo
they
de
can
adquirir usuarios. Y se
take the
basa
gaming wherever
en
they
un
go. So
producto
this is a
diferente de la
different
tecnología,
way
porque
of
también
growing and
evidentemente hay
acquiring
tecnología, hay
new
que
users.
poder
This is a
registrar ese
different use
usuario,
of the
tratarlo,
technology
hacer un seguimiento, hacerle,
because we need
incentivarlo
to
con bonos,
register the
etcétera. O sea que
users,
la
we need
tecnología que da,
to
por ejemplo,
make a follow-up, we need to provide incentives. So the technology, it's perfect for that business model, but it's different from the more mature markets. Advertising has a different role, and many of these big operators don't have any physical facilities. And David, they're saying that we need infrastructure. However, they say the operators have the knowledge, but what is lacking is infrastructure. So I would like to ask you, and don't hate me because of this question, but I would like to ask you, if I say we have everything, we need for you to give us the okay to set it up. What would you say? Do you know exactly what's the infrastructure needed for the government or for the casino, or would you have doubts regarding that infrastructure? Well, I agree with my colleagues of the panel. I think that we have three main barriers in the Latin American market. First, it's a cultural barrier. Second, the technological barrier. And the last one, a regulation barrier. The cultural is the main barrier. If COVID has done something, it's taking the Latin American markets to the technological world, because the Latin American market didn't have any trust about the online world because of the many cases of fraud. And even in the physical casinos, they try to avoid electronic transactions. The second barrier is the technological one. Not every country has a technological infrastructure that can support these online platforms. There's always delays, there's always internet problems. And the last one, not every market or not every country have their standards or a legislation that enables the development of these platforms. In fact, I can talk about the Dominican market. There isn't any restriction for the online links. So this undermines the competitiveness and prevents the development of these platforms in the Dominican market. Having said that, about what you commented for the land-based casinos, well, I would suggest that both are going to coexist, especially in a transition stage. That's a key, especially to generate trust. And I think that this is a new tool, a new business tool in the gaming industry, and in the mid and long term is going to generate a replacement. Generation Z uses these tools by default, and maybe the generation that is more land-based don't trust these technologies so much. I agree with David because, as he said, there is a trust problem. If you go into a land-based casino, it's easy to trust it because you see the people there, you can talk to the manager, you can talk to the people, and it's really easy to generate trust because there's a physical space. On the internet, this is very different. So we need to see what are we going to do to generate a trust.
por ejemplo, Sportingtech es un
we need
provider, un
to
platform
split the
provider. A
group
nosotros para
operators
podemos
from
trabajar
the rest.
no
For
necesitamos de
example,
una licencia.
Sportingtech
En este
is a
caso, una
platform
licencia
provider.
de
We
Malta, por ejemplo. Y esta licencia no es fácil. Es una licencia que tiene un control del Estado.
we need a license, and this
Ese mes
license
nosotros hacemos auditorías.
it's regulated by the
Hacemos
government.
una
Every 6
certificación con
months
GLI y
we
tenemos de
have
estar listos
audits.
para hacer una auditoría a
We
cualquier
need to
momento
do a
y
certification with
presentar toda
GLI,
la forma de
and we need
seguridad,
to be
de
ready for an
pagos y todo
audit
eso
at
tiene de
any
estar listo. Y
time,
después hay los otros.
and
Y los otros
we
no
need to
hacen,
have
no
everything
tiene
ready.
esta
And then
obligación
we
y
have
claro,
the
pueden hacer como
rest.
quieran.
And the
Ahora,
rest, they
¿cómo
don't
vas a
have
hacer
this
para ganar
obligation,
confianza? Creo que el
and
primer
they
paso
can do
es,
whatever
ok,
they
sí,
want.
voy a trabajar con gente de
Now,
confianza que
how can
está
we
licenciada, que
generate
puede operar
trust? Well,
en este
I
país.
think the first
Y hay una
step
licencia
is
local, como
to
por ejemplo
work
dice
with the
David,
people that
Colombia.
is
Hay
licensed
una
and to
licencia,
work in the
entonces
country.
vamos a mirar si
If
este
there's a
proveedor
local
se puede
license,
trabajar
for
en Colombia.
example, like
Sí,
in
lo hay.
Colombia,
Entonces
then we need
pensamos
to
por ahí.
see if that
Después,
provider
cuando tienes
is
tu site online,
enabled to work in Colombia.
necesitas de dar seguridad de
Then,
que vas
when
a
you
hacer el
have an
pago de
online
premios
site,
a
what do you
jugadores,
need?
de que tienes
You
un
need
site que es seguro, que puedes
to ensure that you're
trabajar
gonna pay the
y
prices to
colocar
the
tu
players,
visa,
that
el número de
you
credit
have a
card, lo que
secure
sea,
site,
y que no va a pasar nada.
that you
Y
people
esto
can
es
put
así que vas a empezar
their credit
a
card
tener
number
confianza en el
and
mercado y vas a
nothing is
crecer.
gonna happen.
Una,
And this
una otra
way, you're
idea
gonna
que
start
dice David,
generating trust in the market and you're
estamos
gonna
aquí
grow.
con un cliente que es de
Another
land-based
thing that
y que
David
está
said is that
también online.
we are
Yo no sé
here
si esta
with a
idea es verdad,
land-based
porque
client
hay
that is
gente que,
also
claro,
an
es
online
cliente
client.
online y
I don't know
land-based,
if
pero hay
that's
gente que
true, because there
es
are
cliente
people
online
that it's
y no
online and
busca
land-based,
entrar en un
but
casino físico por
there are
muchísimas
people that
razones,
are
porque,
online
mira, si tienes un
customers and they
político
don't want to get into a
o
physical
tienes
casino,
un empresario con
because if you
muchísima
have
plata
a
y esta gente no
politician
puede entrar en un
or you
casino
have a
porque tiene
businessman
exposición pública
that
y
has a lot of money,
hay alguien que va
that
a hacer
people
una
cannot
fotografía
go
con su móvil
into
a
a
la plaza.
casino because of the
Se puede
public
estar a
exposure,
jugar en casa y
because
no hay
somebody can
un
take a
fotógrafo,
picture
no
with
hay
their cell
nada.
phone.
Yo creo que vaya a jugar en casa y esto es un
But
cliente
at
muy
your home,
diferente de lo que puedes
there's
encontrar en
nothing of
Netflix.
this, so they're gonna
Una
prefer
otra, y para
to
terminar,
play at
una
home.
otra idea es que creo que los operadores que
And
buscan
just
estar online
to close, I
tienen de
think
pensar y de
that
conocer
the
el mercado, como
operators
dice David.
that seek
Tiene de
to
estar
get
conscientes de
into
la
the online
regulación,
platforms,
tiene de
they
percibir el
need to
mercado, cuál es el tamaño del mercado, lo que
see if
necesita,
there
los
is a
pagos, y debe
regulation.
de
They
entender
need
los
to
juegos.
take
Y
into
es,
account the
para
size of the
mí,
market,
creo que es más
and
importante. Su
they
competición
also
no son
need
los casinos online. Su competición no son los otros operadores online. Su competición
the
son
they need to be
Netflix
clear that
y
the
Amazon.
competition
Porque
is not the
nosotros estamos en
land-based
una industria de
casinos. Their
entretenimiento.
competition is
Si yo
Netflix
estoy en mi casa
and
y
Amazon, because we are in the
puedo hacer
entertainment
una compra
industry.
online o puedo
And if
mirar
I'm at home
un
and I
film,
can
algo así, o puedo jugar online,
make an
esto es
online purchase,
cómo
or I
vamos a
can watch
hacer
a movie,
para
or I can
captar ese
play
cliente.
online, and
Y esto
those are the
es la mensaje
competitors.
que quiero dejar a los operadores.
How are we
Tiene de
going to
pensar en las reglas, la licencia,
get
pero tiene de
that
pensar
customer's
en
attention?
Amazon, Netflix y
You need
cómo
to
hacer
think
para
about
vender
the
ese cliente.
regulation, but we also need to think about Amazon and Netflix and how to win those customers. Diego, I think that's very interesting, and I've said this before. For me, casinos and our gaming industry, it's getting a bit behind compared to the entertainment industry, because we have the idea that the customer is going to just go to the casino, the land-based and the online, and we need to try that the new generation joins us. And as you said, Netflix, Amazon, or these online games, video games, and they are all playing together. They connect and they stay until 3 or 4 in the morning, and then they pay a lot of money to play these games. And we in the gaming industry are just letting that happen. And less customers are going to the gaming industries. And this is good for society because the gaming industry is getting charged a huge amounts of taxes, and these are not charged to other industries like Netflix or the online video games. So we have so much knowledge, or we think that we know everything, and we are not focusing on learning about today's society. We need to learn what's entertaining people. This is going to be a hard year, but I think we need to move forward, because if not, we are just gonna be an industry for all people, or for people who want to play online poker, or for sporting bets. But I think we have much more potential than that. And now the last question. What would you say to the authorities of each of these countries in order to have this infrastructure? For example, internet or accounting infrastructure, legislation, etc. So what would you recommend to the regulating authorities? They would need to work together with you so they can be prepared with the necessary infrastructure. Well, what I would recommend to the government is that they need to be aware of everything that we can contribute with as an industry. We have responsible gaming programs and social programs that we have developed as the association, and we are contributing to society. I think we need to highlight this, because we always had the stigma that we are that we don't have a good image, especially in Latin America. But actually, we developed many social programs, and we have very important contributions to society. And the government, in this COVID context, has realized everything that our industry does. During the closing months, they were affected economically, and that was mainly because of the gaming industry. So the contribution that we make is directly related to all these social programs that support the development of society. So my message for the government would be that they need to be aware of the contributions that we make, all the jobs that we create. And when we talk about jobs, it's not a minimum wage job, because the wages that we pay in our industry are higher as wages. They are higher than the minimum wage. So they need to take that into account. And also all the value chains that our sector generates. Because I think they haven't considered this. For example, COVID change our vision in everything that we contribute with. For example, for each fixed employee, we generate 5 indirect jobs in other sectors that work for the casinos, like external services, suppliers, etc. So these are added value that contribute to the economy of any country, and they need to take that into account.
Para la legalización de este mercado online dentro de los países. Y cuando digo una barrera es para que no fomenten lo que es el mercado desleal.
Maybe they need to put a barrier for the legalization of online gaming, so they can support the local market, and this is kept within the countries. I know that Ivo mentioned Amazon and Netflix, and they don't contribute with any tax, at least in the Dominican Republic. I don't know about the other countries. I think Europe is thinking about a way of making these platforms pay taxes, like Instagram, YouTube, and Netflix. Well, Amazon not so much, but the rest, because these are taxes that the governments are not collecting. And I would also like to thank the regulating entity of the Dominican Republic. They've been very active and they've been interested in the development of our sector, and they should keep up that excellent job. Okay, now Ivo and Luis. I think I don't have a lot more to say because I think everything has been said. We need to listen to the association, to the companies. We need to listen to the people that work in the sector, because when we are going to do something in a country, we need to think about the specificity of the country. And for example, if we are going to do something in Colombia, I think the know-how comes from the association and the businessmen that are in the country, because they work daily on these countries, and then we can share the knowledge that we have in order to work with different jurisdictions and regulators. So that would be my recommendation. We need to listen to the people that works in the country, listen to the professionals that work on that sector, because creating barriers, I don't think is the way, because there's a very dynamic black market, and if we do not close the door for them, they're going to proliferate. So I think this is the best way. Okay, perfect. Luis? Yes, the regulator or the authorities need to understand that not all online gaming is gaming, because some products have much lower margins. So when we prepare a regulation, we need to take that into account. They need to talk with the operators and the suppliers. Okay. Just to close, I think we know that online gaming is the future, We know that online gaming, well, is the future, but is the future as a complement of the land-based casino, because none of them is going to disappear. And I think that's very true. And some items are really necessary for both types, that is trust. The land-based casino provides trust, so we can have an online casino with a customer that comes every day or every night. And each time that there is a restriction for COVID, many times we don't have a fixed schedule. A few days ago, they closed Paraguay, now Argentina is closed. And during those times, people cannot go to the land-based casino, so they would be able to keep playing on the online platforms. And we're talking about platforms like the one from Sportingtech, where you have casino games, you have sporting bets, you have different variables. So it's important to have all the knowledge about all the factors of the online casino, because this is not only a platform where I play at a screen without any interaction. Another thing that is important is infrastructure. So Latin America can reach that successful future. And you mentioned that in Europe, you're not completely developed. So we would need to have more knowledge by the operators, more communication between the authorities, the operators, and the suppliers, and also the customer. Many times we forget the main character, which is the customer, the player. We need to tell them, what do you like? How would you feel more comfortable in an online casino? And we need to listen to the customer. That way we can interpret and incorporate their needs. We need to see what are the main competitors. We need to see the land-based or online casinos. We also have Netflix, Amazon, and I also wrote down Fortnite. It's a game that it's entertaining young people. And we need to also make everybody aware of the contributions that this industry does. And the operators need to be more demanding with the government and say, this percentage that you are charging me, where you're going to use it. And it would be great that people knew all the things that can be done with the contributions of this industry. I think we've reached the end of this panel. I don't know if you want to add something else, Elizabeth. Yes, thank you. Well, I've been listening to all the knowledge that you bring. We've talked about regulation, these other industries that may be taking customers from us, like Fortnite, Sin City, and all these games where young people are stopping going to the casino, and they prefer to spend hours in these new platforms, and we don't know if these get taxed. We talked about Amazon. Well, Amazon has a lot of legal problems they are based in Delaware. For the taxing benefits, I think they were regulated in the UK and Spain. I would like to thank you for your time, for sharing your ideas, and for sharing your ideas about this industry. We need to have a hybrid between the traditional casino and an online casino. We need to provide different options also for the regulators that are present. We need to ask them to see how to reactivate the economy as soon as possible. Maybe we need some flexibility because the casinos comply with all safety protocols so they can ensure the health of their customers. Authorities need to take into account all the contributions of our industry. But if we don't connect the online with the land-based and we lose the customers, or they go from gambling to gaming, we're going to lose all that revenue and all that engagement that we had in the online casinos. And everything that we've discussed, well, we had a group of experts, so I don't have much more to say. I would like to thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. I think this is going to be very useful for a lot of people. Our industry needs to start operating online right now. So people need to decide how to do it, who to partner with, what type of marketing do I need. To me, was a pleasure to have you. I think we've all enjoyed this discussion, and I think this has been very useful. Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. And I loved how people have felt comfortable to share their ideas. Yes, and I would like to ask or to thank for this great panel. This has been an honor to share with you, with Elizabeth. And I always say this: we need to see everything as an opportunity. Even though the COVID pandemic is very negative, well, it has opened our minds and has forced us to think outside the box, and that's what we need to do. Maybe we belong to a generation that don't understand these new platforms, but we need to see the new trends for the new generations because they are the future markets. So we need to be attentive of these changes. Okay, I think we missed the audio. I think that there's a delay. I have 2 computers, 2 Wi-Fi connections. I can do anything else. This is a lack of infrastructure. This is what we were talking about. See, there's a very important message. For example, we are in Malta. We have offices in Barcelona, Gibraltar. But if we could change infrastructure, this is something that we can do, and I think there is a lot of people that is concerned with the COVID. They don't know if they're going to have a job tomorrow or in a month, and our industry is non-stop. So if we can change the offices that we have in Europe to Latin America, it would be very important. because we're going to provide a better service for the customers. It's going to be good for the countries because we offer premium wages. So it's going to be positive for everybody because the world has changed a lot, and we're going to keep on this trend. So we as businessmen are willing to do this because at the end of the day, this is going to be better for everybody.
Mirando a hablar, muy interesante.
Sí, me pasó lo mismo. Tú sigues haciendo las señaléticas, pero no escucha la voz.
Yes, I also had a delay. I saw myself moving, but I wasn't talking. Okay, I think we are ready to close. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for presenting all of your ideas. For Latin America, it's very important for the Latin America. I don't know what's happening with David. He keeps talking. No, there's a delay with the video. Okay, thank you very much for your time and for participating. And I think this is gonna be very well received by our audience. And let's hope that we can be in Dominican Republic soon.
Vengan. Mira, totalmente, aunque no me vean haciendo lo que
even though you can see me, you are more than welcome to come. Okay, we'll be there in November. Thank you, everybody.
Bien. Gracias a todos. Chao, gracias.
Bye bye. Gracias.